RFK calls out Bernie Sanders to his face, and he's right. Did you know Bernie Sanders is always on this superior morality high horse whenever he's in front of people like RFK? But in reality, he's actually taken some money from Big Pharma. And RFK knows this, and he calls it out right in front of his face, as he should, during his confirmation hearing. Also, big news, it's said that RFK has the votes to be confirmed, which is massive. So not only will he be confirmed, but he got to do this.
If we want to make America healthy, will you assure the American people that you will fight to do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to every single American?
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
And
protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question. You have not answered my question.
Mr. Chairman, we're 3 minutes.
How do
we make America healthy if you don't guarantee health care?
Chairman, we're literally 3 minutes over here now.
Well,
how long does it keep going? At some time, you're just battering the witness, Bernie.
Not battering the witness.
Yes, you are. And you're getting upset at him. You're going at him just like anybody else would.
We'll come to order. Bernie's going over.
Silence. Silence, Bernie, with your Elon salute that you keep doing there. Relax yourself. Absolutely hilarious. Now, what Bernie was trying to do, he's trying to finagle it. Oh, I got it from workers. If you listen to him, he's saying, no, I got my money from workers. So you're kind of thinking, well, he got small donations from a bunch of different workers in different fields. No. He got donations from people who actually work for pharmaceutical companies. So RFK was actually staying on point when he said pharmaceutical dollars. That is what actually was happening. Let me just see here. Top 20 recipients, pharmaceutical dollars in the health products. Bernie Sanders is at the top. Second, if you could see there, her name is a little, it has a line through it, but that's Elizabeth Warren. So she's getting about half, little more than half of what he's getting. And then the next person after that is Mark Kelly and Mitch McConnell at the bottom there, of course. So he was actually the biggest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars. And that's 100%. And I know it says 2019 to 2020, and you might think, oh, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it still shows that he's willing to accept that money, and they still get donations. Now, is he still getting donations from those people in the top, where he's the top of the top? Maybe not. But he still took those dollars. And he still, for some reason, within this whole hearing, he's fighting for that whole thing with RFK. He's fighting for that industry, while he's also trying to make healthcare something that's available for every single person. I don't know how you feel about that. I've seen it work. I've seen how it works in places where healthcare is free, and it's good in some respects. It's actually really good in some respects. Your wife has a baby. You go in, you deal with it, you leave. That's it. That's great. But I've also seen guys have to wait 8 months for a surgery on their leg. I know a guy right now who's in Canada. He's been waiting since last February for a surgery on his shoulder. He might have just got it last month, But this is this guy just walking around in a sling. So I don't know. I just bring a little off topic there. Dave Smith had this to say about Bernie Sanders. Obviously, Dave Smith has become disillusioned with Bernie Sanders after seeing him fight on the side of power so many times.
The dynamic is much more like the corrupt versus the not corrupt, liars versus honesty. That's the dynamic much more than it is left versus right. And when it really matters, okay, and it comes down to it, and somebody like Bobby Kennedy is a threat to power, and you see quite literally here, the powerful coalescing around keeping this threat to power out, right? The senators keeping out the dissident potential health department secretary. When it matters, where's Bernie Sanders? He's on the side of power, being a fucking blowhard, giving this bullshit speech, trying to make Bobby Kennedy look bad. That's where Bernie Sanders falls down when it matters, as always. As always. The guy LARPs as a representative of the people. And whenever it comes down to it, when it really matters, he falls in line with power. Just like when he endorsed Hillary Clinton at the DNC in 2016. You know, he had this huge movement, this mass movement of people who hated big banks and hated the billionaire class rigging the system in their favor and hated the forever wars. And he got them to support Hillary Rodham Clinton. You know, the person who gives speeches for $500,000 to big bankers and tells them in those speeches, don't worry about what I'm saying publicly. I say one thing publicly, but I say a different thing privately to you. Now, in that moment, when it really mattered, look at what the Libertarian Party just did with Donald Trump. We got Ross Ulbricht freed because, look, we represented a voting bloc and he wanted to court us, and he knew this was a thing that we wanted. So we were able to get a concession out of him in exchange for our support. You know, like it or no, don't like it, that's politics. Bernie Sanders had tens of millions of Democratic voters in the Democratic primary. And then Hillary Clinton and the DNC cheated him out of it. And this came out. The WikiLeaks dump had come out by the Democratic National Convention. They knew that Hillary Clinton and the DNC had cheated against Bernie Sanders, and he had so many chips. He could have sat there and said, like, well, you know what? I'm taking my voters and walking, and we will cost you this election because we don't believe in people who, you know, we hate the big bankers and the wars and the powerful and all this shit. Or he could have at least extracted some serious concessions. I mean, if we could get Ross Ulbricht free, he could have gotten almost any damn policy promise he wanted to. And what did he do? He got none of that and just told all his supporters to go support Hillary Clinton. When it comes down to it, Bernie Sanders is not a dissident. He's always on the side of power. Screw that guy.
Dave Smith, friend of the show, the JRE, big friend of Rogan. And I'm glad RFK did that. You know, RFK is known to be a nice guy, and he did call him out very nicely, but RFK deserves to be confirmed, and he doesn't deserve that type of push from Bernie Sanders, because that's not the type of push to help, you know, give an example of you know, RFK's knowledge set, what he knows, what he represents, what he wants to do. This is just you trying to get something that you want. You want him to say it, and you want the people who will vote for him to vote against him. I said it before in the last video I did about Kash Patel. It's a dirty game they play in these hearings. So dirty. But Bernie Sanders got called out, as he should. He needed to get called out. In this hearing, it was so crazy. Him and Elizabeth Warren were just so wild. Elizabeth Warren, it was another one. She's like, well, you promised not to sue people after you're done here. Well, you promised not to sue pharmaceutical companies. And he's like, what? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, of course I'm going to, if I need to. Like, what are you saying? He's like, I'm a lawyer. What? She's like, well, people should know that you're going to do that. And then after the hearing, she's like, well, I'm just concerned that he's going to bankrupt those pharmaceutical companies. And it's like, what are you talking about? I'm just afraid that RFK is going to bankrupt one of those trillion-dollar companies, and they're not going to have any money anymore. And again, why would somebody like that do that? Well, that's why. Because I don't know if you can see that number. I'm pretty sure that's an 8. So somebody got $800,000 from those type of companies. You see what I mean? Anyways, guys, RFK will be confirmed. Kash Patel will be confirmed. Tulsi Gabbard, some people are worried about that, but I will be getting into that in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe, turn on the notifications. We are back. I'm out.